On May 4th, Poughkeepsie will host the Banned Book Symposium, Proactive, Reactive, and Supportive. This is happening at Dutchess BOCES Conference Center. This half-day event will include discussions on banned books and programs that have faced challenges. Jeff Trexler, the interim director of the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, will be featured during the day's event. On the program with us now is Jen and Grace. Jen and Grace, can you introduce yourselves?
Sure. My name is Grace Riario. I am the director of the Ramapo Catskill Library System, which we serve 47 public libraries.
And I'm Jen Park. I'm the government relations specialist for the Ramapo Catskill Library System. And I would like to add that I am a librarian, as is Grace.
I gave a really quick synopsis of exactly what's happening on May 4th. But Jen, do you want to go more into exactly what this symposium is all about and what goals are you and Grace looking to achieve?
Yeah, thank you. So the symposium is co-sponsored by a number of organizations: the Southeastern New York Library Resource Council, the Mid-Hudson Library System, Mount St. Mary College, SUNY New Paltz, and BOCES Library School Systems, Dutchess, Orange Ulster, Rockland, Sullivan, Ulster, and of course, the Ramapo Catskill Library System. So the Banned Book Symposium is a half-day conference to support the professional development and continuing education of librarians and educators. It is a biannual event now in its fourth year. So this actually began in 2018. This symposium is a forum for librarians and educators to hear from experts and practitioners in their field. We're looking forward to a really great day.
Now, Grace, you are the executive director for the Ramapo Catskill Library.
Library. That's correct.
You're right. When this whole wave of banned books came, this is Mitch mentioned the fourth year that this is happening, but the whole wave of banned books are sweeping some states in the country. What was your initial response for yourself as far as being a librarian and being in charge of a library system like Ramapo?
And you just have to ride the wave, right? This has not been the first time that this happens. We have had many things happen to libraries. So this is just one wave that happens. Every time that people forget what libraries stand for, there's always a wave that occurs. This is just a new wave, and I'm just going through it.
Right. Now, Jen, with the American Library Association reporting that record-breaking number of books challenges in 2003, what do you believe are the long-term impact of this increased censorship on public libraries and school libraries, especially considering that these titles representing LGBTQIA plus and biopic voices are significantly targeted?
Sure. So from Unite Against Book Bans, we have the statistics that in 2023, across the country, a record 4,240 unique book titles were targeted for censorship. Of this, 47% of the books were targeted for censorship were titles representing the voices and lived experiences of LGBTQIA plus and BIPOC individuals. So these are voices that are being focused on in the public library sector. We curate collections for the entire community. So, as we want to allow truly anyone to find what it is they're looking for, of course, a certain age appropriateness in the public libraries as it relates to their families. We are not focused as a public library system on schools, so I can't speak to that.
Right. Like I said, this symposium is happening on May 4th. Do you want to go, either Grace or you, Jen? You want to go over some of the program that will be available for this half day event?
Yes, so there's going to be presentations from a variety of different library types. So in the library world, we have a number of different library types, such as schools, academic, public, special libraries, medicals, and so forth, and including law. So this symposium will have presentations by peers in the field focused on generalization of library services, programming, and support, as well as public, academic, and school libraries. So these were program proposals that were submitted to the planning committee, of which a number of the co-sponsoring organizations sit on. We read through them. We noted that they are of great value, the content and the objectives and goals within the presentations for our educators and librarians. So it's going to be an extremely informative day, learning all about intellectual freedom, First Amendment, programming, services. It really runs the gamut.
Grace, having said what Jen said, who should be attending this symposium? Who is your ideal audience that you want to be seen there?
Anybody that works in any library, really. It could
Right,
be librarians or non-librarians, whoever has the privilege to work with the public and work in a library.
right. Now, considering Grace, I'll stay with you. Considering the efforts of organizations like Pen America to combat intolerance and censorship leading to book bans, what do you assess as the role of sort of legal challenges in preserving educational freedom and ensuring that there's diversity of voices and stories in libraries?
Well, legally, I think that we are all shocked about the legislations that certain states are passing through to attack librarians. I'm sure no doctor would like to be attacked for providing services to their communities, right? If you have a cancer doctor that is putting forward the best practice to safeguard someone's life, you would not like that individual to be attacked or permitted not to provide health advice to an individual. It's the same thing with librarians. I think we librarians, educators, have been doing this work for a very long time, and we want to preserve the ability for a parent to be the one that teaches his child or her child or their child how they want to see the world, right? It's not up to us. Our role is to be able to have all the information that said parent wants to provide to their child, whatever that may be. I don't think it's the right to any parent to tell another parent how to raise their kid.
Right, and then you say just being in the library system as a young kid and just knowing that I've never experienced it in this my lifetime as growing up, having books being banned when growing up, just imagining that you're limiting information. And like you mentioned, we mentioned before, the some targeted groups are being targeted, the BIPOC and LGBTQ populations. It almost seems like they're silencing their voices or sort of their stories.
I don't think it's so much about silencing. I think it's about disappearing.
Right.
I believe that these groups want these folks to disappear. I'm a Hispanic woman that came to this country at the age of 15. So I will take very much offense for anybody to want to disappear me or anybody that looks like me. We have a voice like everyone else here in this world has a voice. So I think eliminating voices is a very dangerous thing to do.
I have very fond memories of the library growing up. I grew up in the city, so I grew up in New York City, a public library system there. I remember just seeing great movies at the library first time and discovering books there, and just very fond memories. And to see now my daughter, who's now living up here, part of the Ramapo library system, and her joy is going to the library there. And it hurts me when I hear the book bans about Grace. You mentioned about not being seen, and I'm a Hispanic male, and my daughter's Hispanic, obviously, and just we always look for books that represent us, and there's so many more now. And it
Mhm.
breaks my heart to knowing that there could be a child somewhere in some other state, especially Florida, which is a large Hispanic population, Latino population there, be like written out of existence. Can you talk more about that? So that's I think it's a really passionate thing you said there.
I think what it is a concern as a librarian, as I said, I'm here to help people. I am here to hear all voices. And libraries, we buy things that we don't agree personally with, that we don't relate to. I can't relate to an Irish person. It's a totally different culture, totally different background. But what it makes a library amazing is that a kid and an adult can walk in and just see whatever their imagination wants to learn about, wants to educate themselves about. What career do they want to have? Do they want to be a Star Wars today, or they want to be a princess tomorrow, or they want to see how folks in Haiti lived? How did a child grow up in Mexico? How did a child grow up in Spain? And to remove books just because of a few people's opinion about a group is not okay, because libraries are the only place that really provides the tools for the imagination to grow. And if you take that away, then what is left? And as I said to you in the beginning, I believe this is a wave. And we have had many waves throughout the history of the United States. There has always been people against other people for whatever reasons they have. But the one thing that we always have had has been museums and libraries. That has always stayed. That's what museums and libraries represent. So many groups of people, so many cultures, so many backgrounds, so many opinions, ideas. And to think that you can just erase those is not okay.
Jen, and you have a keynote speaker that's coming to this event, Jeff Trexler. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. He served as since 2020, served as the interim director of the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund. Can you talk about him and his role in the symposium?
Sure. So we reached out to Jeff Trexler, who has been dedicated to protecting free expression and the legal rights of the comics community. And the way he does that is really focusing on First Amendment rights. So he is an attorney, most likely will be providing in his keynote speech information surrounding First Amendment rights, what they are, what it means for the materials, programs, and services within the public libraries, and what it means for the library staff, administration, and trustees to carry out the First Amendment. So he will be joining us that day with the closing remarks, actually, as our keynote speaker.
Awesome. So, Jen, just stay with you. Do you believe, or in the light of laws, like say about earlier, like some states like Florida or Oklahoma, do you view the relationship between legislation and current wave of book bans? Do you believe there could be a balance struck between protecting the students or maintaining a diverse educational curriculum?
As it relates to the public libraries, I
Right.
think open conversation is always really fruitful. We invite everyone to our public libraries. If there are certain people who have concerns, then we want to hear what those are because we also want to make sure that we are hearing from our community and developing our libraries with the thoughts of the community in mind, but also we need to consider the whole community. So, as it relates to legislation and legislators, having open and honest conversations of what these laws mean for the constituents, but also what they could mean down the road for other constituents, right? So setting any sort of precedents is of great value for these conversations.
To Jen and Grace, I will ask you both are librarians. How did you get into the field? Grace, you want to start? Like, how did you get into the library field?
Because I love people. I love helping people, and libraries are about serving people.
And you, Jen?
Yep. So I actually found the field by happenstance where I had moved out to the Midwest and we were in a spot in life where we didn't have any family around us. Money was a bit tight. And so I spent a lot of time in the library because there were books and videos and video games and magazines, but a positive atmosphere. That was of no cost minus, what we provided through our tax dollars, which overall is quite minimal compared to what you receive back from the library. So I really felt engaged and welcomed by the library. And from there, I decided to pursue my master's in library science.
Jen, for someone who's listening to this and wants to attend this symposium that's happening on May 4th at Dutchess BOCES Conference Center, what did he have to do?
Sure. They can visit our website, rcls.org, and navigate to the calendar. And it's listed right on our calendar for them to attend. It is a half day conference from 8:30 a.m. until 1 p.m. on the campus of Dutchess BOCES. Breakfast and lunch will be provided along with the 25, it's within the $25 registration fee. And if they have any questions at all, my contact information is right on the website.
Absolutely. Jen and Grace, before we go, anything else that we have not touched on you want folks to know about the subject of banned books or the symposium? Grace, you want to start?
Whoever is listening, just remember public libraries are for everyone. Everyone. Whatever that means to you. That is everyone. Thank you.
And I would be remiss if I did not add that although we have briefly brought up other states, there have been 80 challenges reported to the American Library Association of materials being challenged in the state of New York.
Thank you, Jen and Grace, for talking to me about this symposium. And it's been really this is important subject, banned books. And I think, Grace, I think you hit it a nail on the head there about erasing someone's history and everything. So that's really important, I think, to think about when things like this do come up. Again, Jen and Grace, thank you so much for joining me on the program. The symposium's coming up on May 4th. It's happening at the Dutchess BOCES Conference Center in Poughkeepsie. Again, thank you so much for joining me on the program.
Thank you. Take care,
Thank
everyone.
you.